before I get into the detail, let me give you a quick overview how the question appears to be. In your task 1, general IELTS writing, in the question, first you will have a situation or a scenario. For example, a friend has promised you or told you that he will look after your pet while you are on a holiday. So write a letter to your friend. That's the situation. The next part, the second part of the question is the bullet points. So in bullet points, in your letter, it starts with in your letter. First, give the details about your journey or where you are going. The second thing that will be added in the bullet point is give the instructions that instruction regarding how to look after your pet. And the third thing, inform or give him an idea about the household duties. So these are the 3 bullet points. So you need to arrange the details of each bullet points in 3 different paragraphs very clearly and with a language that you need to create a very good relation with your friend and you, because you are writing to your friend. Then you will have the instructions, like you begin your letter as follows, like dear. So of course in this condition this is an informal letter or a friendly letter. So you can start your dear, then the first name of the recipient or the receiver to whom you are writing the letter. Then you don't need to write any of the address. So this is how the question appears in IELTS General Task 1. Well, let's get it started. In IELTS General Task 1 letter writing, in the very beginning, I'll give you a quick overview about the letter writing, the format. First of all, you will have 20 minutes to spend on this task and you need to write at least 150 words, a letter with 150 words. So first of all, there are 6 things that you need to consider about the format as far as the format of the letter is concerned. First thing is salutation or greetings. Dear sir or dear madam, if it is formal letter. If it is semi-formal letter, you can start by writing dear with second name. For example, dear Henry or dear Mrs. Henry, depending on the gender of the recipient. The second thing that you need to be very careful about the format is introduction. It is only required if your recipient is a stranger to you. That means you don't know the name or you don't know the gender of the recipient or the receiver to whom you are writing the letter. The third thing is the purpose of the letter. So introduction, my name is or I am. Then the next point that you need to add in the writing letter is the purpose, why you are writing. That shows the reason I am writing this letter for. Then the fourth thing is that details that you need to include to the bullet points. So here you have to include the details in separate paragraph that give the reader a clarity, and reader will definitely enjoy while he read your letter. So that's a fourth thing. The fifth thing is the complimentary sentence. That means I hope a reply from you soon, or otherwise I hope you would settle the matter quite amicably. Or if it is an informal or a friendly letter, you can add a complimentary sentence like see you soon or take care, all the best, or the best wishes. Then the sign of line. The sign of line means if it is a formal letter, the sign of line should be yours faithfully. On the other hand, if it is a semi-formal letter, your sign of line should be yours sincerely. Or you can also add with the same sign of line that you use to informal or personal letter, like my best wishes, take care, regards. So these are the 6 points that you need to be very careful when you think about the format of the letter writing. Well, my first tip in general IELTS writing task 1 is to identify the type of the letter. There are basically 3 types of letter: formal, semi-formal and informal or personal letter. Formal letter also can be considered to be a business letter. Now, when you look at the question, you will easily understand from the instruction and the scenario or the background that is given in the first part of the question. Now, what is the difference, or how we can distinguish the characteristics or the features of the letter from formal to semi-formal to finally the informal or the personal letter? Formal letter means if your recipient is not known to you, or you are writing to someone you don't know about the name of that person, or even you don't know the gender. So the type, the condition of the formal letter is, for example, the subject, the topic, like you're writing a complaint to someone, a professional gentleman or a professional woman. So there is no need to, because you don't know the name, you can start it with dear sir or dear madam. The second topic or the second situation, if you are writing an apology letter, so complaint and apology is always considered formal letter. In case of the recipient is not known to you. Now, the semi-formal letter. Secondly, the semi-formal letter, the condition of the semi-formal letter is you are writing to someone, he is known to you, but the purpose of your writing letter is not personal, something professional. In that situation, you need to use the semi-formal language. That means a neutral language. I mean, you don't always use the language that you use exchange between you and your friend in the friendly matters, whereas you use professional language plus friendly language, the mixture or the neutral. Your letter sounds neutral. Now the salutation, dear, the surname, for example, dear Mr. Henry or dear Mrs. or Miss Henry. Now finally, of course it's very important to know about the topic. Like in semi-formal letter, the topic, for example, you are writing a request or you are writing an invitation. In that case, you can make your letter into semi-formal letter, a request or kind of invitation. Now the informal letter or the friendly letter or the personal letter, it means quite simple. You are writing to someone, he is very well known to you. Doesn't matter to whom you are writing, like a relative or your friend or your colleague, but your purpose of the letter is to be friendly, not professional or not official. On the other hand, there is a slight difference. If you are writing to a manager in your office, in that case the purpose of your writing letter is, let's say, not professional one, like you are inviting him a party. So doesn't matter there the domain of that profession or the level or degree of his professional level, whether he's manager, assistant manager, director, managing director or director. In that case the purpose is like an invitation, friendly. So in that case the letter should be semi-formal. So in the meanwhile, the friendly letter is quite simple, that you are writing to someone who is your friend, very well known to you. So in salutation or in the greetings, you should start dear, the first name. For example, dear John or dear Mary, let's say any of the names. So this is the first tips, how to identify the letter. Well, my second tip is decide the style or the tone of writing the letter. So it's very important to understand, because the different letter like formal, semi-formal or informal needs different type of opening, greeting or salutation. So if you're writing to someone you don't know, for example, your letter you need to write under the formal condition, since you don't know the name of that recipient. So in that case, according to the topic, you need to change the opening. For example, if you are writing a complaint, after dear sir or dear madam, you need to show the reason why you are writing the letter. If it is a complaint, I would like to bring your kind attention to an issue. Or you can start it, I feel the need to bring your attention to the issue. On the other hand, if you are writing apology, I feel the need to apologize, or I'm writing this letter to apologize you. Or in another way you can write, I'm writing this letter to show you how I feel sorry. Now, or if you're writing a semi-formal condition, right? For example, if you're writing an invitation letter, I'm writing this to request you, or to request you for the information. Or you can also invitation, on the other hand, the semi-formal, I'm writing this letter to invite you, or I'm writing this letter to request you an invitation for. So this is how you have to start. And of course, finally, the semi-informal letter. When you write informal, I hope this letter find you in good health, or hi, hello, greetings, you know. So you can start it like, I hope that you and your family doing well. So this is how you need to start your, because in formal letter, when you start, you need to start in this way, then you need to state your purpose. Like, I'm writing this to invite or suggest or request or let you know, depending on the topic. Because in informal letter, the situation can changes, depending on the purpose. The topic can change. Now the endings. The ending of formal letter, of course, it's yours faithfully. Then that's what the exit phrase. And before that, you also need to give a complimentary sentence. For example, I hope that you will, if it is a complaint, I hope that you will settle this matter amicably. I hope you will take a favorable action soon. In semi-formal letter, please reply me soon. Please drop me a line soon. I hope that you will reply me favorably. So this is how. On the other hand, in informal letter, you can say best wishes, best regards, or all the best, take care. So this is the same thing can be applied to in the case of semi-formal as well. Don't get confused. But normally, in the case of semi-formal letter, the exit phrase is yours sincerely. Most of the time. But some people, like, they get confused, like, can I use any other, like, instead in yours faithfully can be only used with the formal letter. On the other hand, in semi-formal and informal, like personal letter, you can use the both. Like even in the case of in addition to the yours sincerely, in semi-formal letter you can also use regards, best wishes, all the best. So there is no problem. So that's what the style or the tone of the letter. And when you write the body paragraph, of course you need to be very careful about the language, because when the tone, actually the tone means very important when it comes to the writing letter. See, there's a difference between speaking and the tone in speaking, or the verbal communication and the written communication. When you communicate verbally, you can easily understand the feeling of the other person by looking at their body language, their eye contact, their facial expression. On the other hand, you do not have this luxury when you write the letter. So you can only understand the feeling from the kind of language that uses. So it's very important. So this is what is called the tone, like the way you write your letter and the way the reader understands your message. So if you want to make it clearly conveyed, in IELTS it is very important that when you write the letter, your purpose should be clear, or your reason should be very clear, and your message should be clearly conveyed depending on the what type of the letter. Informal, you can't use any language, like for example, informal letter you need to have positive, acceptable and more convincing, and there must be a clarity, and you need to use the word that can only be used with people who are having professional dignity, a professional standard, for example a manager, a government employee. The next type of the letter is job application. Most probably you will be asked this type of letter in your IELTS exam, general task 1. So when you write the job application letter in your exam, so it's very important to make it formal. In some cases you can write the letter into semi-formal, in the case of the name is mentioned in the instruction. For example, write to Mr. Michael. So in that case it can be semi-formal. So when you write a job application, you need to be very careful about the opening and the ending of the letter, because you need to add one more statement here. I'm writing this letter for the post of this, for the post that you have advertised in the newspaper. So I'm hoping that you will consider me as a suitable candidate, and hope that you will give me the suitable date for the interview. So that should be your opening or the beginning. And you can also like my name is, and I am, or my name is. Then you will be given the instruction, okay, in the bullet points, like first write your educational qualification, then give the details in the first paragraph, and then secondly you need to give your relevant experience if you have any, and otherwise you can give the details about the skill that you're having in that as far as that particular bullet point is concerned. Then you need to give your what like appropriacy, or why you consider yourself that you're suitable for that job. Then you need to make a statement. That's what I said in the earlier, like as I said before, you need to I have attached my resume, or I have attached my curriculum vitae for your kind consideration. Okay, then your complimentary sentence. I hope that possible what you can say, I hope that reply from you soon. I hope that you will consider my candidature for this post, and you will decide a date for an interview. Then yours faithfully. Remember, yours faithfully is a formal sign of line or exit phrase, while yours sincerely is semi-formal, or you can also make regards. Okay, so this is what the another type of letter, like job application. So that's the end of my second tips. So I hope that you understand quite well. Well, the third tip is to decide or know the purpose or the reason why you are writing the letter. Of course, these two based on the topic or the subject. There are 5 type of purpose, or there are 5 type of topics. Based on that, you need to create the purpose in your letter writing. First of all, the complaint. Second one, apology or feel sorry. Third one is request or the invitation, request or inquiry. In fact, the fourth one is your invitation, and the fifth one, thanksgiving. So these are the basic subject. So you will have to write a letter based on this topic, showing the purpose regarding this. So as I mentioned in the earlier tips, that the style or the tone, the purpose have to be very clear. I am writing this to apologize you. I am writing this to bring your kind attention to it. Then the purpose should be like if that is a complaint, or of course the third one, like that I am writing this to request you. You have to state it very clearly. So when you read the question, it's very important to know the purpose. The same thing goes with the case of inquiry, request, and of course the invitation and the thanksgiving. I am writing this to congratulate you. I am writing this to appreciate you. So this is the very, very important tips when it comes to the letter writing. Knowing the purpose or the reason that why, and you need to include it in the opening very clearly. Well, the fourth tip is to cover all details or include all the details that you need to be mentioned in your letter based on the bullet points. So when you include the details, you need to change the language, that means the tone or the style, depending on the type of the letter. So as you can see on your screen, the screen appears in front of you about the type of language based on an instruction that somebody is giving to an employee. So first, you can find there are 3 different type of paragraphs showing 3 different tones. Okay, I'll very clearly explain to you that. So I thought that would be very helpful to know about the kind of sentence that you need to write. So the first is, look at the first paragraph. If you take a look at the first paragraph, you can say that you can find it. You have to finish the project by the day after tomorrow. If you fail in doing so, we might lose the client, and that will not be good for us. See, this is like little bit of bureaucratic, or little bit of what you can say authoritative. So we do not want to make this type of language. The same, the project completion deadline is the day after tomorrow. A failure in completing it might result in the loss of a client. This is another type of language. It is a bit of threatening type, so we don't want to use it. Now we will find the third paragraph, that is too formal. Richard, this client is important to us and we cannot afford to lose this account. This project needs to be completed by the day after tomorrow. Hence, we are assigning it to you. Please let us know if you want any further details. So this is a kind of exact language that you need to include in your letter writing. So this is how you need to cover all the bullet points details using this particular type of language. It can be simple, but you need to show your ability to write sentences accurately and appropriately. Of course, moreover, you need to show the right kind of sentence structure, that is complex sentence, very simple complex sentence. And it should have a positive tone. It should not be having a negative or authoritative or aristocratic or not even threatening. So this is how you have to include all the details. Students, the final and the last step is check your vocabulary and grammar which you are writing. It too depending on the type of the letter. So when you use the vocabulary, you have to avoid using phrases or idioms in the letter writing, because these are not considered to be a formal words. In addition to this, you also need to avoid insincere language. For example, honestly, frankly speaking, sincerely speaking, because these are like, create a kind of inappropriacy when you write the letter. So avoid idioms and phrasal verbs. And of course, there is no need to use the compound nouns too much in your letter writing, and that also sound your letter writing bit mechanical or bit unnatural. So you need to make it natural. So the vocabulary that you need to use impress the reader with a positive tone. So there is no need to use hard and fast vocab, but it should be professional and it should be thoroughly acceptable, and it should create a positive tone. Now the grammar. When it comes to the grammar, it's very important you to use the direct sentence structure. That means you should avoid the passive forms. Okay, it is done, it is requested, something like, because passive sentence in grammar not considered to be the direct. It's better to use the active form, like I would like, okay, and I would like to invite you, so please can you. So this is how you need to make your grammar quite accurate and appropriate to the letter writing. In order to give you a little bit more clarity about how you need to include your vocabulary and grammar, I'm going to give you an example about the question and its answer. Now, as you can see on your screen, the question of IELTS General Writing Task 1 looks like this. You should spend about 20 minutes on this task. Now the question is, you recently organized an all-day meeting for your company, which took place in a local hotel. In their feedback, participants at the meeting said that they liked the hotel, but they were unhappy about the food that was served for the lunch. Write a letter to the manager of the hotel. In your letter, say what the participants liked about the hotel. Explain why they were unhappy about the food. Suggest what the manager should do to improve the food in the future. So these are the 3 bullet points. Now write at least 150 words. You do not need to write any address. Begin your letter as follows: Dear Sir or Dear Madam. So from this question you can easily understand that this is asked from a formal condition, because you are writing to a manager of the restaurant, Dear Sir or Dear Madam, because you are not sure exactly about the name. Now let's find how an answer can be written. So as you can see, the model answer of this question, which scored 7 bands from an IELTS certified examiner. Now the greeting and salutation: Dear Sir or Dear Madam, comma. Now the purpose and the details. I am writing in connection with a meeting which was organized in your hotel on the 1st November for the employees of Avanta company. That's the opening. Now the details. According to the feedback given by the guests, they throughout thoroughly enjoyed hotel facilities, particularly the outstanding design of the building and furnishing, as well as the quality of the reception and transfer provided. You can find the sentences are quite formal and the words are very clear and easy to understand. Of course, it creates a positive tone. Now the second details to the how the candidate covers the details to the second bullet point. However, in spite of the overall contentment with the hotel amenities, the participants of the meeting reported being dissatisfied with the quality of food served for the lunch. Now the clear study, like how they were dissatisfied. All colleagues agreed on the fact that the food was stale, especially bread and some of the salads, and the meat was tough and undercooked. One of the guests complained about having abdominal discomfort after the lunch, though not leading to any serious problem. Actually, even though it's a complaint, but it creates a positive notes. Okay, not very rude or authoritative. Okay, still the writer followed certain manners even though it is a complaint. Now the final part, taking into the consideration the above said, we would appreciate if you establish better control over the kitchen and the cooking process, considering all favorable reports that were heard about the hotel. So far, we are not going to leave any negative feedback officially. We hope that this was simply a misfortune, accident, and the fame of your hotel will not suffer from it. Faithfully yours, or yours faithfully. This is how you need to organize your grammar and your vocabulary and your grammar. I hope that it would be very useful for you to understand in the future when you sit in the final exam. Well, students, that's the end of today's video lesson. I hope that you understand this lesson very well, especially for those students who are taking the IELTS exam in general. If you found this video useful, please leave your comment below, and of course share it with those who are aspiring for the IELTS general exam. And of course, if you have any queries, you can contact me on the number given below. And in future, definitely this week I'm going to launch my own website, so I'll give once the website is launched in the description box, so you can find more and more lessons at any time, 24/7, anywhere you are. So that too I'm going to begin it in the future. So that's it for today's lesson. If you are not subscribed my channel yet, please do subscribe, and of course give your valuable comments. So see you students, till then, next time, take care, bye.